Hi children, welcome to Early Bird Class 8 Science Class Chapter 2 Part 10 Revision. Here I'll tell the important points which is included in this chapter. So you have to close your eyes and just revise the points. In our surroundings we can see animals, plants, etc. But apart from that, there are some other living beings which cannot be visible to our naked eye, because their size is very small. So they are called as microorganisms or microbes. They can be visible through a magnifying glass or with a microscope. Microorganisms are classified into four major groups: bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and some algae. These microorganisms can be useful or harmful. Common ailments called influenza and most coughs are caused by viruses. Serious diseases like polio and chickenpox are also caused by viruses. Diseases like dysentery, malaria are caused by protozoa, whereas typhoid and tuberculosis are bacterial diseases. These organisms can survive in any type of environment. They can be unicellular or multicellular. That means single celled or more than one celled. That is multicellular. And there are some friendly microorganisms. The bacterium Lactobacillus promotes the formation of curd. It multiplies in milk and converts it into curd. They are also involved in making of cheese, pickles, and other food products. Bacteria and yeast are also helpful for fermentation of rice idlis and dosha batter. During the growth of yeast, carbon dioxide is produced, so it fills the dough we make and increases its volume. It's also used in baking industries for making breads, pastries, and cakes. Microorganisms are also used in large-scale production of alcohol, wine, acetic acid, etc. The process of conversion of sugar into alcohol is called as fermentation. Fermentation was first discovered by the scientist Louis Pasteur. Next, we have seen the medicinal use of microorganisms. We have learned about antibiotics. These antibiotics kill or stop the growth of disease-causing microorganisms. Some examples for antibiotics are streptomycin, tetracycline, and erythromycin. Some of the commonly known antibiotics are made from fungi and bacteria. The antibiotic penicillin was first prepared by the scientist Alexander Fleming. After that, we have learned about antibody and vaccines. When the antibody is produced in our body, when a disease-carrying microbe enters our body, the body produces antibodies to fight against the disease-causing organism. The body also remembers how to fight if the microbes enter the body again. The antibodies remain in the body and we are protected from the disease-causing microbes forever. This is how vaccine works in our body. The vaccine for smallpox virus was discovered by the scientist Edward Jenner. Next, we have learned about useful microorganisms and soil fertility. We have learned about biological nitrogen fixers. That means some bacteria are able to fix nitrogen from the atmosphere to enrich the soil with nitrogen and increase soil fertility. They are called as biological nitrogen fixers. The dead remains of plants, animals, etc. are decomposed by some microorganisms, thereby they are cleaning the environment. After that, we have learned about harmful microorganisms, mainly disease-causing organisms, microorganisms in humans, plants, and animals. Disease-causing microorganisms are generally called as pathogens. They spread diseases from one person to another through air, water, food, or physical contact. So these diseases are called as communicable diseases. There are some insects and animals which act as carriers of disease-causing microbes. For example, housefly, mosquitoes, etc. In that table, we have seen so many human diseases that is caused by microorganisms, and we have learned about disease causing microorganisms in animals. Robert Koch, the scientist Robert Koch, discovered the bacterium Bacillus anthracis, which cause anthrax disease in cattle as well as human. Foot and mouth disease of cattle is caused by a virus. Next, we have seen disease causing microorganisms in plants. Several microorganisms cause diseases in plants like wheat, rice, potato, sugarcane, orange, apple, and others. Some of the diseases we have seen in that tables, that is citrus canker, rust of wheat, yellow vein mosaic of bean. In the next topic, we have learned about food poisoning. Food poisoning could be due to the consumption of food spoiled by some microorganisms. If we leave the food uncovered and use it afterwards, our body will be attacked by microorganisms and it may cause diseases. Next, we have learned about food preservation. How to preserve food in a safe way away from microbes. First is chemical method. Salts and edible oils are common chemicals that is generally used to check the growth of microorganisms. That's why they are called as preservatives. Sodium benzoate and sodium metabisulfate are common preservatives. Next is preservation method by common salt. Salting will prevent the growth of bacteria. Then preservation by sugar. Sugar reduces the moisture content which inhibit the growth of bacteria. Jams, jellies and squashes etc. are preserved by this method. Next is preservation by oil and vinegar. Use of oil or vinegar prevents spoilage of pickles because bacteria cannot live in such environment. Vegetables, fruits, fish, meat, etc. are preserved by this method. Heat and cold treat, mainly milk, is preserved by this method. Here you have learned about a method of preservation, that is pasteurization. This pasteurization was first discovered by Louis Pasteur. Here the milk is heated to about 70 degrees for 15 to 30 seconds and then suddenly chilled and stored. By doing this, it prevents the growth of microbes. Next is storage and pack. Mainly, we have to sun dry the fruit or vegetables so that the moisture content will be lost. After that, pack it airtight. In the next topic, we have seen nitrogen fixation and nitrogen cycle. We already learned about rhizobium, bacteria which is present in the root nodules of leguminous plants. There is a symbiotic relationship. That means both the living being is get benefited by its association. Here rhizobium is enriching the soil with nitrogenous compounds. At the same time, rhizobium bacteria is getting food and shelter from leguminous plants. In nitrogen cycle, we have learned how the amount of nitrogen present in the atmosphere, that is 78%, remains the same. Nitrogen is very important component in plant as well as in animal body. Certain bacteria and blue-green algae present in the soil fix nitrogen from the atmosphere and convert it into compounds of nitrogen. Once the nitrogen is converted into these usable compounds, it can be utilized by the plants from the soil to the root system. Nitrogen is then used for the synthesis of plant protein. When animals eat these plants, these proteins, nitrogenous material, enters into animal body. After some time, when these animals and plants die, they'll mix with soil. Thereby, the nitrogenous compounds get mixed with the soil. Nitrogenous compounds again reaches the soil. From the soil, some bacteria convert this nitrogenous compound to atmospheric nitrogen. Thereby, the cycle keep on continuing. This is called as nitrogen cycle.